it is sentencing day for Sean Combs. His months-long criminal trial filled with disturbing allegations finally set to come to an end today. Just how much time will he receive behind bars? And good afternoon. I'm David Navarro.
And I'm Lauren Glassberg. Sandra is off. The family of Sean Combs arrived at the courthouse this morning in Lower Manhattan, and today Sean Combs himself is expected to address the court and ask the judge for leniency.
Combs will be sentenced on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Each count carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison.
And Justin, we are getting a first look at a highly produced video being played in court from Combs' attorneys to try and appeal to the judge.
Meanwhile, the judge shedding some light on what he may be considering in his sentencing. Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson live in Lower Manhattan with the very latest. Kimberly.
Well, this is one of those consequential days in his life. Right now, Sean Combs is sitting in a courtroom on the 26th floor of this building, waiting to hear his fate. The judge will hear an earful. We'll also see a highly produced video by the defense. It's a sort of look back at Sean Combs' life.
Thank you. You hear it? You inspire, you energize, and you've left out of the existence of this planet, man.
Now that video runs about 11.5 minutes and shows the entrepreneur in all facets of his life with his 7 children as they grow up, deeply personal moments at home with his late partner Kim Carter, and Combs taking part in his various business ventures. All of this an 11th hour Hail Mary of sorts as Combs begs for mercy. Sentencing day inside a federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan. The Combs family arriving as they have for months. Inside the courtroom, Sean Combs sat with his team of attorneys for what is expected to be a critical, several hours-long hearing. The outcome will determine how the disgraced music mogul spends time moving forward. The defense is asking for a sentence that does not exceed 14 months. Combs has been behind bars for roughly 13 months. The government wants him in prison for at least 11 years. While the 55-year-old did not take the stand during his 8-week trial, today he plans to speak. His comments most likely rooted in a letter he wrote to the court. In it, he directly apologizes to his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, telling her, quote, "I literally lost my mind. I was dead wrong for putting my hands on the woman that I loved." He went on to offer an olive branch to another ex, a woman who testified under the name Jane, telling her, quote, "I realize that I hurt you." When it comes to the sentence, the judge will have final say, but does have a lot of discretion. Combs' former personal assistant, who testified under the name Mia, was supposed to physically be in the courtroom. She told jurors her former boss had sexually assaulted her multiple times and that she had helped set up so-called freak-offs, sometimes days-long drug-fueled sex sessions during which Combs forced women to have sex with paid male escorts. But at the top of the hearing, the government announced Mia this morning had bowed out. Prosecutors went on to say a, quote, bullying letter from the defense was part of her reasoning. The judge scolded Combs' lawyer, saying, quote, the tone of the defense's letter was inappropriate, adding that should not be done again. To date, the government handed over 6 letters against Combs, one from Ventura, who herself wrote to the judge saying her relationship with Combs was, quote, the most traumatic and horrifying chapter of my life. But support for Combs has been front and center ever since he was arrested in a Midtown hotel in September of last year. That backing is spelled out in more than 75 letters also now filed with the court.
Diddy Combs is set to face sentencing on October 3rd, 2025, after being convicted on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution earlier this year. His trial, which began in May in the Southern District of New York, was one of the most closely watched celebrity legal battles in recent memory. While the jury acquitted him of the more serious racketeering and sex trafficking charges, the guilty verdict on the prostitution counts carried significant weight, leading the judge to deny him bail. Combs has remained in custody since July 2025, awaiting the outcome that will determine his future. Prosecutors are urging the court to impose a sentence of more than 11 years in prison, arguing that Combs used his power, influence, and intimidation to orchestrate a network of exploitation. They pointed to testimony, videos, and accounts from multiple victims to describe a pattern of coercion and abuse. In contrast, the U.S. Probation Office has reportedly recommended a sentence within the range of 5 to 7 years, which aligns with federal guidelines for his convictions. The sentencing hearing will ultimately be decided by Judge Arun Subramanian, who will weigh the evidence, the nature of the crimes, and mitigating factors before handing down the sentence. Combs's defense team is seeking a much lighter sentence of roughly 14 months, much of which they hope will be credited as time already served. They emphasize that he has shown remorse and personal growth during his incarceration, including teaching a business education program for fellow inmates. Support letters from prisoners and counselors highlight his positive influence behind bars, portraying him as a changed man. Combs himself submitted a letter to the judge describing a personal transformation and asking for mercy, saying he has been reborn through reflection and accountability. Meanwhile, victims and the public are closely watching to see how justice will be served. Some, including singer Cassie Ventura, have voiced that apologies are not enough and have called for a sentence that reflects the harm caused. The outcome of the hearing could set a major precedent for how celebrity defendants are treated in federal cases involving sexual misconduct. Whether the judge sides with the prosecution's push for a lengthy prison term or the defense's plea for leniency, the sentencing will mark a pivotal moment in Diddy's life and in the broader conversation about power, accountability, and justice.